Recently, we were invited to Landshut, Germany, a medieval Bavarian town home to the Church of St. Martin, famous for being the second tallest masonry structure in the entirety of the world. The tallest, of course, being the Anaconda smelter stack located in the United States. All that said, we weren't in Germany to look at buildings. No, we were there for something much more important, and that is Fanatec's new Podium Series direct drive wheelbases. FAP link in the description. To help us get an idea of what the Fanatec DD1 and DD2 wheelbases are like, they not only had the wheels set up on their rather nice Fanatec Rennsport sim rigs, but they'd also put together a monstrosity rig, allowing for us to test multiple direct drive wheels on the market, along with the Club Sport 2.5 and the new Podium Series direct drive wheels. The science of breaking risks had been taken too far. So the big question, the one I keep getting asked, how does the DD1 and DD2 from Fanatec compare to other wheels that are currently on the market? Well, I'm afraid it's bad news. The DD1 and DD2 are actually pretty damn good direct drive wheels. Specifically, and most notably, is the fact that the DD1 and DD2 felt very, very similar, if not near identical, to the current SW20 small Mage direct drive wheel that I'm using at the moment. And just like the SW20, where it differentiates itself from the Club Sport Wheelbase 2.5, wheels like the T300, G29s, and the other belt-driven wheels on the market, is just how precise, sharp, and detailed the force feedback is delivered, in that you can have a lot of force going through the wheel, through the sustained cornering forces, and still get those tiny little itty-bitty details coming through your fingertips. Also, you have the benefit with the direct drive wheels that if you're doing a bit of tank slapper crazy driving action, the wheel doesn't seem to trip over itself and have trouble keeping up with the game. It just stays one-to-one with the game, and it just feels really natural, really responsive, and super direct. What was really cool is having this monstrosity rig where we could try 4 wheels side by side, and then they swapped them over for another 4 direct drive wheels. They had the lower end direct drive wheels, like the small Mage, and then they swapped that for the Lands Mage and the Bodners and everything else, and basically tested everything side by side. Interestingly, what really stood out to me was how essentially the OSW, the Fanatec DD1, DD2, and the Bodner kind of really just fit into their own bracket. There's differences with them, subtle differences, but essentially that they're at that point where it's just like, okay, this is nice, this is perfectly fine. Nobody needs anything better than this on the hardware level, essentially. Whereas you definitely notice that the AccuForce wheel is grainy, and it just doesn't deliver the force feedback as nicely, in my opinion, as those other wheels. And you also notice that the belt-driven wheel of the Club Sport V2.5, though it's actually quite nice and smooth and, relatively speaking, reasonably strong in its force feedback. I've never actually used one before this test, so it was interesting to me. Where the Fanatec Club Sport 2.5 let itself down a bit is when it had sustained forces, it lost a little bit of detail of the actual subtle stuff. It did feel a little bit dampened, and then when you're driving like a rude boy, stealing the milk from Tesco's, when you're soaring away at the wheel, which you shouldn't be doing, but when you do that, it just doesn't feel as tight, and it certainly doesn't self-align as in sync with the simulators, anywhere near to the same level of quality as you get from the direct drive wheels. Ultimately, what seems to be the case with both the Fanatec DD1 and DD2, as is the case with the other top direct drive wheels like the OSW I use at home, the differences seem to come more from the software implementation than they do the actual hardware. I think the hardware of all those wheels has passed a sort of threshold, a required threshold to get the nuances and details there. And it becomes more apparent when you're using these wheels side by side, when you tinkle with the settings a little bit, how different it can make one wheel feel over another wheel. Obviously, because of the limited amount of time, there's only so much fiddling we could really do with the different software settings on each wheel. But it'll be really interesting to hopefully get one of these DD1 or DD2 wheelbases at home and really hammer through all the different simulators, different settings, and see how long it takes before we can break it. Now, my grandma once said to me, "Be careful, don't be fooled by good looks, it's what's inside that matters." Which of course is very wise, but at the same time, I'm shallow and who wants to spend a lot of time with something that's ugly? And I have to say, the Fanatec DD1 and DD2 are pretty damn sexy, just by being a fairly minimal unit with a nice little LCD screen that took me back to the days of putting LCD screens on our computer cases, pretending that we're all fancy with our little fan information. Now, though the little screen on the wheel is a bit small and you're not exactly going to be using it for any racing information, it was quite cool that you could see the Newton meter information coming out, but you can also use it for when you're dialing in stuff like the strength of the force feedback or the different mode settings and the different options, all of which are accessible by pushing a button on the steering wheel, allowing you to then save stuff without having to exit the simulator or tweak things just on the fly to whatever you want, which is, I think it's just really nice and really sleek, and it's something that you can't currently do on the direct drive wheels. You kind of have to alt tab and do stuff in Windows, which I don't mind, that's not a problem to me, but it's nice that Fanatec are accommodating laziness, which just means more time to drink tea and less time fiddling around and alt tabbing. Now, one thing that really stood out and tickled my pickle with the Fanatec DD wheel is the quick release mechanism that, of course, gives it compatibility with all the Fanatec rims, and just how it operates to make sure that the rim is on there super solid and stable without any wobble or movement. Now, the way it works is you've got this standard sort of quick release where you pull back the sheath and you slap it on the shaft, but then you've also got this unit where you rotate it, and that puts pressure on a little rubber area that then expands and causes a really good friction grip with the actual wheel as well. The end result is, of all the driving we did at this event, I didn't notice any subtle movement of the rim or any problems with the rim not feeling totally locked onto that shaft. I would say there's a little bit of technique to removing the wheels from the shaft, but once you've got it, it's not too bad. Word of warning, whilst you're learning the technique, don't put your face in front of the BMW rim. Outside of the arousing quick release, the different Fanatec rims are really nice. I was interchanging them on the direct drive base and getting a little bit of a play with them. I've used the BMW rim and the original Formula rim before on a OSW, but it was just nice being able to quickly swap the wheels over, plug them straight in and just drive with them. And having the right rim for the specific type of car in the sim does make quite a big difference for immersion. I wouldn't say it's 100% necessary. I use an OMP Tricento at home and that works fantastic for all vehicles. But you know, sometimes it's nice to treat yourself to some luxury tea bags. All in all, the Fanatec direct drive wheelbase is a bit of a spicy nugget, and I think Fanatec fans that have the rims and the pedals already will be really excited by it, and I'm certainly excited to get one of these in the future to do a proper review on. Obviously, this video is a first impressions preview, and so it'll be interesting to see if anything does indeed change at launch. I'd also like to point out that Thomas from Fanatec had drugged me and other people that attended the event, so everything in this video could just be nonsense. A big thank you to Fanatec for inviting us to their event, and all the staff and people there that were just pretty damn awesome, I have to say. Really impressed by the fact that they managed to bring English weather just for me. I mean, that's attention to detail and really appreciated. I love being drenched and wet wherever I go. So thanks for that as well. Thank you very much. But there you go, guys. Until the next one, don't forget to subscribe and like, and of course, if you're spending money and looking for a divorce by buying sim racing equipment, click our Fanatec affiliate link in the video description. I will see you guys very soon. Take care. Goodbye.